lot of these purchase orders should be binding, but these folks don't want to get tied up in court with Amazon. So Amazon is kind of flexing its muscle a little bit here, and then they can renegotiate with Amazon on different terms to still sell them through Amazon, but obviously share some of the pain of these tariffs. And then other options are going to other marketplaces, and this is an opportunity for folks like TikTok Shop, Walmart, Temu to stand out as alternatives. So they do have some options, but Amazon's still like the main show in town when it comes to U.S. online sales.
Was this move unusual or expected?
Very unusual and definitely unexpected. Most of these folks said they were completely caught off guard by it. Like I said, what the beach chair vendor has been selling for more than a decade on Amazon and actually had the stuff made. So it's not like they said, hey, this order way out, let's cancel that. This is stuff that he's already had a factory make and is on the hook to pay for. So with no communication or real explanation. So this is definitely showing how these tariffs are basically disrupting a lot of relationships and forcing partners to negotiate with one another.
Have we heard anything from Walmart about kind of how they plan to navigate these tariffs?
I haven't spoken specifically to Walmart, but a lot of these companies are just in the same game. You figure Walmart has an advantage of selling predominantly grocery, and so if there is a pullback, people still need groceries, so they'll still do well there. But then, in terms of like these large diversified retailers like Amazon and Walmart, you're just likely to see a shift in the mix of products, like more consumables, more everyday needs that people need in their daily lives, and less of this kind of discretionary stuff like the beach chairs we mentioned or scooters or that kind of thing.
How many more levers like this can Amazon pull?
Amazon has many levers and knobs, but so do its partners, right? So this is kind of a gamble. So if Amazon's pulling back on its orders, then that the knock-on effect of that is some of these folks that sell on Amazon and rely on Amazon for sales might have to pull back on ad spend. So Amazon can turn one knob, but then someone else turns another. It's like popcorn popping in a kettle.
What if we heard, Spencer, from some of the Chinese players like Alibaba, like Temu? How are they planning on navigating the new environment?
I haven't heard much from Alibaba, and then on Temu has basically been kind of anticipating a lot of this. A bigger issue for them was this de minimis loophole, and they've been kind of forward deploying more inventory into the U.S. So that was another thing, is folks just trying to get ahead of this and get inventory into the U.S. before these tariffs take effect. And then another option for folks like Temu or Amazon or any vendor selling anything is just looking for countries not affected by these tariffs. And so this is making places like Canada, Australia, other markets much more desirable, especially if you've got to unload inventory and want to avoid these tariffs.
Does any of this yet? Did you have a sense, just in your reporting, how demand is holding up at all? Like we talked a lot about the supplier side, et cetera, but are we seeing sort of stockpiling ahead of the tariffs in terms of consumer behavior?
That's the $1 million question right now, and there's definitely a lot of cross currents, and that's the fear, right? Is like a lot of companies, analysts, everything, they can get real-time data from sources that track like credit card transactions and stuff, and so that's a big concern right now. Is there like almost like a false flag that the consumer's safe, if in reality they are just like stockpiling on things, getting ahead of the tariffs, and then demand's going to drop off a cliff in several weeks. So that's something that people are actively monitoring and scratching their heads about right now.